Hey, what's going on, guys? The Langbanger here. So I have yet another profile for you. So this is another variation of Shaddoll, and this is actually Chaos Shaddoll. So I'm just going to say up front, I am in no way saying this is the best way to use the deck. I'm not going to say, if you build this deck, you're going to go top something, dominate people. This is just, again, another variant of the deck. I just absolutely love that you can mix so many different things with Shaddolls and just get it to be functional. So a couple of other things. So Black Luster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, that recently, well, not recently, but it went to three, couple of formats ago. Might have been a year or two back. I don't even know. But that came back, and I've just been itching to use that card in a deck. And then also now with Chaos Dragon Levianeer, that card being reprinted. And now we have Construct at 3. I mean, everything was just kind of falling, in place here, just for me to have a cool deck to showcase here. So, Levianeer was out before, but, it was money, and the fact, I just really don't play anymore. I'm just, a casual. So maybe I was a casual before, no one knows. But, so you have 3 Chaos Dragon, Levianeer. You have 3 Black Luster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning. So, I actually was using Chaos Emperor Dragon, the OG one, because actually you can search that and Levianeer with Melody of Awakening Dragon. I mean, not to say like that's a well-kept secret or anything, but that could be some variation that you want to do. So that's kind of neat. So, I mean, I'm not saying to cut BOS or anything, but I'm saying like you do have 2 cool targets if you wanted to use that. So that's the Chaos portion. So now you have Reshaddoll, Wendy. It's not a light or a dark, but it is a mandatory card, and it's going to pull a card out of your deck and, just give you items to fuse with, and, it's essential. You have 2 Beasts, you have 2 Falco, you have 2 Squamata, you have 2 Hedgehog, you have Dragon, and then you have 1 Quad Shaddoll Kaios. So I figured I'll show this because for the most part you're not going to see this in most decks. Basically you get to summon a Shaddoll monster from your hand. So that's really cool. Or, then the other way you can send from your hand to the grave. So it's got its uses. It is also a light, sorry for the glare, but it's just really cool because, if you do open up multiple monsters and, you have the spells to, like, keep things going, right? But, like, you don't have a way to get it out of your hand. May sound weird, but I could see that coming up. You have a way, and then also with that, if you need a light in a pinch, you can dump this, and then, that effect then goes off, and then, you got a light in the dark, more than likely. So I just think it has its uses. So this, and don't get me wrong, like, I'm just very old school, and I'm gonna explain to you some other, choices or engines you can use, but I'm actually using 3 Thunder Dragon. This is another one of those cards that I have absolutely loved since, the beginning of time. I mean, it was out in the second set, Battle Raiders. It's really cool because just discarding one, you can search one by one if you want, or, just search it too. But regardless, getting the 1 will have you 3 lights for the game. So 3 lights here, 1 Quad Shaddoll Kaios, and then I'm also using a Trick Clown as well. So that should definitely be enough lights, and the fact that Construct is a light, you should have no issues. So at least with Levianeer, you don't necessarily need lights, but Black Luster, you need, at least 3 lights to drop all 3, if it somehow came to that. So, like I said, I mean, that may seem a little weird. You can use potentially artifacts instead of this. You can use Trickstar. You can use more Perform Mage, I mean, Juggler and Trick Clowns, and then the other guy, Hat Tricker. That's totally up to you. So, yeah, this is just a personal flavor for me. I just want to get to them right away and just get the discarding, thin it out, and go for game. And if you guys haven't guessed, I mean, this deck should be able to go for game against a lot of decks. So the one thing I would kind of be concerned about is being able to break a board or break through a board. So I am using Super Poly, little spoiler, but I don't know if I need to main anything else, so I guess we'll see. Also, you can use Nibiru. I mean, he's also a light, I believe, so I mean, that could be another way. So you could either fuse away the Nibiru if your opponent plays around it or they don't drop 5 or whatever, or you can just have that to stop them in their tracks. So onto the spells, you have 3 Shaddoll Fusion, you have 3 El Shaddoll, and you have 1 Nef Shaddoll Fusion. So the fact that the fusions are once per turn, that's why I'm using a copy of this. Plus, I actually really like that effect where you can turn that into whatever attribute that you want. So let's say you don't have a light, well, now you do. Or I'm also using Shekanaga because I think that card's really cool. You can do that if you need to. So that's that. Then you have 3 Super Poly. As I stated in a previous video, basically almost every deck that I make is going to have this card in there just because, I mean, it's one of the best ways to break boards in the game. It's a totally unfair card. You can't respond to it. It's just really good. So that's that. So now we get a little weird here. So I'm really turboing out. So you have Performer Pal Popper Up. So this isn't a unknown card, but you can send up to 3 cards from your hand to the grave, draw that many cards. The whole rest of the effect basically doesn't matter. Just because you don't have Performapal, Magician, or Odd Eye monsters, so you are going to be taking a lot of damage, so just keep in mind that. But you're going to be getting your Shaddoll effects going, you're going to be filling up the yard, and then hopefully with your Shaddoll fusions and then a couple of Chaos guys, you should be able to push for game. So you have 1 Foolish Burial, you have 1 extra Foolish Burial, so I'll go into this in a second. You have 1 card Destruction, you have 1 Instant Fusion, and then you have 1 Ultra Polymerization. So I mentioned this card in my video talking about like possible text for the deck. It's just really cool. I mean, the only potential downside to me is 1, you got to pay life points. 2, you got to use monsters from your field. But your opponent cannot respond. And then also then you can get some materials back. And then just continue to fuse. So that's why I'm using that. But you'll see I'm using like a lot of text here. So like Ultra Poly, Instant Fusion I think is a must use. Card Destruction, Extra Foolish, the Popper Ups. So really, I mean, you've got some space there. That's like 6 cards, 7 cards. So if there's something I'm missing that you guys like, go for it. This is 41 cards. I think it's 23 monsters. I was actually quite a bit higher, but then it's just like you run into those issues to where if you have, an all monster hand, you're basically passing. You need to see spells. So, I cut down on the monsters, added some spells to where I'm drawing or like doing stuff, and then hopefully just, keep the game going, just keep the pace. So I do have an extra deck for you. Honestly, I didn't put a whole lot of thought into this, but you can see it anyways. So you have 3 Construct. To me, I think that's a staple in basically every deck. You have 2 Window. You have 2 Apt Cologne. So that extra Foolish Burial, you can actually send this to the grave, and then you see its last line of text. This card is sent to the grave. You can add a Shaddoll card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Then discard 1 card. So actually, you have a way to search Shaddoll Fusion if you want. I mean, El Shaddoll, even a monster if that somehow, came to it, and then being able to discard too. So that's really cool because, I mean, yeah, his effect will normally maybe go off, but then also to be able to send that, I just think that's cool. And if you open a bunch of monsters and you have that extra Foolish, you have a way to search and, kind of get things rolling a little bit. So that's kind of my thought process. And I went with 2 because, sometimes you do actually summon this. So then I'm using a Shekanaga. So this is honestly a flex spot. I mean, if you just want to stick with the Shaddolls like everyone else is using, that's completely fine. I just figured since I'm using Nef Shaddoll and then also using Super Poly, I just wanted to get another attribute in there. I mean, there's Grista, there's, who's the other one? It's the one we always forget. Wendigo, I think, is its name, the wind. So really, I mean, depending on, you know, your meta and, you know, maybe if I'm not using some and you guys want to use it, then, you know, that could be a flex spot. So I have super poly targets, so I'm not saying these are the best, it's just what I have in here right now. And, you know, as the meta shifts, then, you know, these targets can shift. But you know what, to be honest, we're not going to be playing for quite a number of months. Just spoiler alert on that. So, you know, take us with a grain of salt. So Mud Dragon, you have the Starving Venom, and then you have the Earth Golem Ignister. So I'm also using a instant fusion target. This may be a little weird. I mean, you'll normally see like Thousand Eyes Restrict, which like that's really good too, but honestly I just ran out of room. I figured I'd maybe want the light just because, you know, of the chaos. So not entirely sure if that's even like needed. That could just be Thousand Eyes Restrict. So and then I'm using 3 links. So you'll see compared to my past profiles, I definitely cut down on links. So you have Crush Sheep, Unicorn, and then Abramax. I don't have Appaloosa. I also don't think you're going to be going into, you know, links that frequently. I mean, this card's just insane, obviously. Unicorn also, because you get to just bounce them. And then Avramax, you know, that's insane in itself too. So I thought at the very least those were 3 that I had to keep in. So maybe I could cut the Musician King and, you know, add another link if I'm like missing one. But, you know, there's a lot of flex spots. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was definitely kind of in a way a throwback just because it's chaos oriented. I mean, back in the day when we did have, you know, all those chaos monsters, we didn't have Shaddolls yet, but, you know, I'm basically the concept of dropping a boss monster by removing cards in your grave, right, and then mixing it with one of the best decks in the game. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for more profiles. Peace.